It's 4:05, and on the show this week, we're putting the world of paedophile hunters under the microscope, and we've had some exclusive access to the men who set up the organisation Dark Justice. The guys are from Newcastle, and they describe themselves as an online child protection service, and they claim that the evidence they've gathered over the past 4 years has led to 164 arrests across the UK and to 85 people being convicted for crimes against children. Now, the police are keen to point out that groups like theirs aren't made up of professionals or experts in safeguarding, but Dark Justice insists that High Court judgments prove what they are doing is still legal. So why and how have Callum and Scott of Dark Justice taken the law into their own hands? Have a listen to this exclusive interview.
BBC Newsnight. It was just saying like how they were underfunded, understaffed, the computers were outdated and stuff. So we were talking, and it was actually Callum's idea to set this up, and we set up a profile. You know, we ended up catching the first person we ever caught, Roger Lee, who committed very serious crimes towards a 12-year-old child who had
armed robberies.
Armed robberies and stuff like that. So, you know, we caught him, and when we heard what he did, that sort of like made us make an agreement right there and then in Newcastle Crown Court that we were never going to stop.
When you say you caught him, talk us through how you go about that.
We set up the profile. When we set it up, we just let it lie there. We didn't message anyone.
So I'm just going to take you back a step. So what you mean is basically you're logging into a computer and you are creating a made-up person.
Yeah, girl or boy.
Age-wise?
Between the ages of 11 and 15. So all was underage.
And then where do you put them?
Just on various social media websites. We obviously don't name them, so we don't alert people. But so we made this profile, and we just let it lie there. And within the space of an hour, it had 90 messages, something like that.
So you're basically going onto a chat room. You put the person there, and they're effectively saying, "Hi, I'm Anna. I'm 12, and I love you, Justin Bieber."
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Actually caught a person doing that in a Justin Bieber fan group as well. That is weird that you've said that.
No photo?
Oh, photo, yeah.
Made up photo?
We have volunteers who let us use their photos. They look a lot younger than they are, but they're all over the age of like 18 and stuff. But like, you know, without them, we would be nothing. But when he said like, "Are you really 18?" he would have known by the profile when he looked at it, because the age was on there, that it was a child. As soon as she went, "No, I'm really the age that was on the profile," he turned around and went, "I would like a young girl in my bed with me right now." It just went from being a slow chat to 1,000 miles an hour with him going, "A little girl sitting on my lap is what I like. It makes me feel special," and stuff. He was really, really creepy type of bloke, like Roger, really creepy.
So you've put the bait in and you've waited for everybody to come to find you.
We don't have to do anything. We act naive to everything they say. We never get sexual. We always dodge any sexual stuff that they talk about, and they just reel themselves in. It's just a time frame. That's all it is. It can be different from person A to person B. You know, our quickest one has been 30 minutes from being online to real life within 30 minutes. So it went from talking online to meeting in Newcastle City Centre within 30 minutes. Our longest has been months. We just keep telling them our age. So it's asking them the question of the adult, am I allowed to do that? And they're turning around and going, yes. These people, you never know what their plan is. You know, we never know when we go to meet them. We've had people turn up with Stanley knives in their pockets and stuff.
Let's talk about this, because it's all about the meat. Because at that point, so you've built up this pool of evidence, all of the chat room stuff that you've got online, you've got all of the texts. While we've been sitting here, your phones were going off. Are they messages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To your decoys?
Yeah.
All the time? You've got this all day?
Yeah.
All night?
Yeah.
You even get some trying to ring you like 5 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. Like,
I mean, there's my WhatsApp and text messages. I've got 13 to reply to on WhatsApp and 5 text messages to reply to.
And they're not your real friends?
No. And they're only messaging now because they think my decoy's on lunch break at school.
So the whole point is you've got to get to this meat, because at that point they can be accused of something and there's more evidence. And then at that point you bring a police officer in.
Yeah. They'll tell us a place where they want to meet, and we'll just take control from there. Where we're going to watch from and what's the safest possible way to confront them. So if it is a really violent person, the police will be informed an hour before the meet.
It might sound crazy, but we walk around our beautiful city looking for CCTV on days, you know what I mean? So we can gauge how an environment's going to be. Every meet, you'll never get two that'll be the same, unless you catch the same person twice, which we have, but...
We'll get onto that in a second.
Brilliant.
Reaction-wise, you've had all sorts.
Yeah, he got bit. I've had my thumb dislocated. I had a car door slam into me. One of the person's dad tried to run me over. Being spat on, people threatening to beat us up and stuff like that there, but it's like...
And then you get the ones I've seen. I am baffled by this. Who have very little reaction at all.
Yeah.
Yes, they could be shell-shocked, but some of them seem very relieved to have been caught in some ways.
I think it's because they've been doing it that long and they just sort of like put their hands up and say, well, you've got us banked to rights. I've been waiting for this sort of thing.
Luck's got to run out, hasn't it? That's what I think it is with a lot of them, is they understand that they're taking a big chance by doing it. There's no way you can talk your way out with some of the stuff you've said. It's impossible. I mean, caught 164 people, and as of the end of today, we will have had 85 convictions.
Actually, make that 86 convictions, because as we were talking on Friday, another man was sent to prison on the back of evidence that Dark Justice claimed they'd presented to the police. This happened at Newcastle Crown Court. That man was already a convicted sex offender. It's something the organisation's calling the revolving door of the criminal justice system. It's something that I've put to pretty much every element of the criminal justice system over the past few days. You're going to hear more about that before 5 o'clock. Let us know how you feel hearing what Callum and Scott have had to say about this, about being paedophile hunters. On this week's show, we've been giving you an exclusive insight into the world of paedophile hunters here in the Northeast, and we're about to hear from the men in Newcastle who set up the organisation Dark Justice. Now, they say that evidence they've gathered over the past 4 years has so far led to 164 arrests across the UK and 86 people being convicted for crimes against children. The last one actually was convicted on Friday when I was doing the interview. They catch people by setting up a fake profile online of a girl or a boy, usually aged between 11 and 15, and then they use the photo of an adult volunteer who just looks underage but isn't. They put them in a chat room. Here's Scott from the group.
On the fishing side of things is we put the bait out and they reel themselves in. Like, we don't have to do anything. We act naive to everything they say. We never get sexual. Our quickest one has been 30 minutes, so it went from talking online to meeting in Newcastle City Centre within 30 minutes.
While we've been sitting here, your phones were going off. Are they messages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To your decoys?
Yeah. I mean, there's my WhatsApp and text messages. I've got 13 to reply to on WhatsApp and 5 text messages to reply to. And they're only messaging now because they think my decoy's on lunch break at school.
Shocking, but true. That happened in the interview on Friday. The idea of hunting paedophiles online and gathering evidence to get them convicted came from watching the BBC's Newsnight programme. It had talked about the police's cybercrime units being underfunded, understaffed, and then having some outdated computers. That was 4 years ago. Callum and Scott were inspired to take action, but they told me how it's taken over their lives.
It's destroyed them, to be fair with you, as it's destroyed our lives. Can't do anything anymore, you know, like our family are at risk from what we've done and we're at risk from what we've done.
What do you mean?
Well, just people want to attack us, people want to kill us. You know, we've made some enemies on some scales that you never even knew existed within the world of child abuse. So,
both of you?
Yeah, people wanting to throw acid in our faces and so on like that, and some we've even received some messages from people not even hiding identity, and we've handed them into the police and they've been took to court.
But I mean, at the same time as it's destroyed it, it's also benefited in certain ways as well. Like,
it opened your eyes, like, more than most people in this world.
But it's opened your eyes to a level of depravity.
Yeah.
There's nothing nice in what you were doing, apart from, I imagine, the feeling of seeing somebody convicted. What does that feel like?
There's no feeling like it in the world, is there?
Well, when you've gathered evidence on someone for 4 months and you finally see them in cuffs, it's sort of like you're relieved. But then you get a phone call saying, oh, they've been released under investigation, and it just starts that process again, where there was one that got locked up probably about 2 months ago, and he's back online, but he's been more clever. So does the system work? Is it broken?
What would you like to see change?
Well, I think anyone locked up for this sort of offending under the Sexual Offence Act is lock them up, and if the evidence is there to support it on, like it's handed to them by us, they should be remanded into custody straight away. It's a gift-wrapped package of evidence. From the justice system, it's a generic reply. We are trying our best to convict people who have committed these crimes, etc. But then with the police, they're running around like headless chickens getting the evidence together, and at the end of it, what they're getting? Someone getting a community order.
You've started to notice the same names coming up, haven't you?
Oh, we've caught the same person twice. Our good friends, the Guardians of the North, have caught a person 3 times. You know, he goes to jail, he gets out, they catch him. He goes to jail, he gets out, they catch him.
Why do you think that can happen?
There's not enough resources in place to stop the reoffending. It's just simply down to that.
The police, broadly speaking, insist that they would prefer the public to speak to them directly with any information rather than go to any intermediaries, which you would be the intermediaries. And they are concerned that work that you do would be impeding some of their investigations already.
See, like they always say the same thing about, it can interfere in investigations.
I think it just builds the evidence.
But, like, say, for example, the police are investigating Mr. Joe Bloggs, and then he starts speaking to what he believes is a 14-year-old female. Well, I'm sorry, but you've just been given exactly what you were investigating him for in the first place, so what's your problem? Like, you know, if you know it's us and you want us to step off, you know our number. Like, if anything, it just strengthens their investigation, because it's more evidence to prove that he's active outside of their own investigation.
What if something you do gives suspicion that wasn't there already, that you may be a decoy?
That's why we're very cautious about what we put online or what we say. So, you know, we always have this thought in our head anyway, because we don't want this person to know it's a decoy at all anyway. So we're always covering our track on that side of it.
But what about people who are still suspicious of your motives and why you got into this? And there will be people who will be thinking, yeah, you felt strongly about that. You're not getting paid for it. You've got no guarantees that these people are going to go through a justice system because you've already knocked the justice system down. What are you getting out of it?
I think it's our reputation, and we don't beat around the bush with what we say on radio or anything. In relation to convictions and so on, everything's passed through the police and it's done professionally and it speaks for itself.
But anybody who's thinking, what is that? You're masquerading as young girls online. Are you getting some weird kick out of this?
We get people who say that to us all the time, but it's for a good reason. So, like, if we were doing it for a sinister reason, then okay, I could imagine some people would think, can't go into our brains, but I think after doing it for 4 years and catching 180 odd people, I think we would have cracked by now, and people would have clocked on that we were up to no good, especially when the police download our phones probably once every 3 months. So, you know, the police know more about our personal lives than we know. So I can guarantee you, if we were up to no good, they would have us in cuffs, trust me.
So that was Callum and Scott from the organisation Dark Justice. I've spoken to various branches of the criminal justice system about this story, and one thing that the National Police Chiefs Council told me was that, I quote, the increase in these groups is symptomatic of the increasing scale of child sexual abuse that police are now dealing with. To give some context as well to Dark Justice's figures, the Sentencing Council gave me lots of statistics, and we've pieced through them, and they show that across England and Wales for the 10 years up until last year, 2017, 1,011 people were convicted under the sexual grooming offences. You can always text us, 81333, make sure you start that message BBC, or of course you can get in touch with us on social media.